All right, welcome back. Now we're going to create an interface for our math service. If you're following along, we covered a little bit about the problems with using this type of approach here with our default constructor and then a constructor that takes a concrete math service. And then our default constructor just daisy chains that along. It's not really clean, it's just kind of messy. It's just a way to get unit tests to work. But still, we're testing a concrete math service. We don't want to test that when we test our home controller. So let's do this. Let's go to our math service and let's create an interface. iMath service, it's convention. We're going to have 4 methods: add, subtract, multiply, divide. Okay, so there's add. We're going to duplicate these. Subtract. Multiply and divide. And then we're going to have math service implement iMath service. So we'll move this to another file. And then we'll go back over here. We'll implement our other methods. So there's subtract. Add was already done for us. First times second. And then this one is first divided by second. Now there are obviously going to be errors if we pass 0 into the divide method as a second parameter. That's not going to work so well. If we have decimal.max value for either the first or second and try to add them together, that's not going to work either. Same with decimal.min value. So we know that that's going to happen. We could have overflows with divide as well. I mean, to multiply. But we're not really focused about that. I'm focused on that right now. What we're trying to do is we're just trying to test our classes. We're trying to test the math service separately from the home controller and the home controller separately from the math service. Okay, so now let's go back over to our home controller, sorry. And here we're going to take this default constructor out. And we're going to call this iMath service. And we're going to change the property math service to of type iMath service. Okay, so right there, we're testable now. We can test this home controller without testing the math service. That's all it takes. Now the implementation of that is a little bit more work. So let's go to our math model. And we're going to have a list of operators. It's kind of a clunky way to do it, but this is just demoware. It's just for the training. So let's make a public static list of type string. And we're going to call that operators. We got an extra T there. We're going to return a new list of type string, and we're going to initialize it right away. And those are going to be our 4 methods: add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Format that real quick. Now we could have used an enum. That's a little bit more work in the UI on the MVC application, so I just stuck with the string list. It's really easy. Now we're going to go to our index view, and we need an operator up here. So we're going to copy this and duplicate it. This is just going to be a value. Okay, and here we're going to do drop down list for rather. We did not include our operator, so let's include a property here. And we can change this back. HTML dot label for operator. Okay, good. This is going to be operator. So that's the value we're binding to. And then we are going to have our list of options as a select list. And we're going to pass it math model dot operators. So that's why that value is static, so that we can access it without having to instantiate our math model. Now let's go to our controller. And if we notice here, we're just adding it all the time. So let's do a switch statement. I know, once again, not really the best way to do that. But I don't really care. This isn't about architecture, about implementation of a good architecture. This is about unit testing, dependency injection. So we're going to be a little sloppy in some areas. Okay, so for when we get an add, our model.result is going to equal mathService.add, model.first, model.second. And break. And then we need that 3 more times for our other operators. And we'll just search for add, hit F3. And then subtract, multiply, and divide. We can get rid of that. If we have another instance worth through here, we can default one to add. That'll work. Now let's run it. Control F5 again. Close this other one. No parameterless constructor defined. What we still need to do is we need to add our dependency injection. So let's take a look. Actually, before we do that, let's go back to this. We'll make a default constructor. Okay. Because we're kind of jumping the gun. Okay, so add 1 and 2. Submit, we get 3. Subtract, we should get -1. Multiply, we should still get 2. Divide, we should get 0.5. Okay, so that works as expected. Now in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to add some unit tests. And we're going to start to get in the nitty-gritty of unit testing, controllers, and the math service.